Hey guys, this is the long Kickstarter video, and for those who haven't watched them before, this comes with a disclaimer. This video, they tend to be quite long, quite laid back, sometimes up to 20 minutes, sometimes up to 30, I think. And what we cover in it is it's basically everything that's happened over the last 2 or 3 weeks with the NFC Ring Kickstarter video. So if you only want to watch something that's 2 minutes long, there is a short video. That'll be linked in the description, and you should just go watch that. That'll give you a bite-sized update of what's been happening and what we've been doing. So let's get into it. Doing things slightly different this week. So usually what I do is I have a pad that has all of the details about what I'm going to talk about, and kind of an update with everything built in. And I usually do the short video first, which takes me 10-15 minutes to do the 2-minute video. Because I never get the first take right. I never retake these videos, these long ones. I just do one take because they take so long, and you get what you get. But this week, this time I'm doing this update. I've got no agenda because, to be honest, most of it's in my head and in my inbox and on various web resources that we use. So I'm kind of just going to go from there and pick the bits up. So again, this won't have much structure, as you guys are familiar for the ones that have watched this before. So I think let's get started with fulfillment. It's going to be a big announcement, and that big announcement is going to be that we've fulfilled all of Kickstarter. Now, by fulfilled all of Kickstarter, we'll have everybody who sent us an order will have been sent a ring. Now, actually, no, so there are some gotchas. There's about 10 people who have placed an order for 2 alphas, and we can't fulfill either alpha. So what we've done, basically, all of the big last shipment arrived, as you guys know, and what that meant is that we could get basically everything fulfilled. So it arrived on Wednesday, and we worked tirelessly Thursday, Friday, today's Saturday when I'm doing all of the admin-y stuff. And then Sunday will be the final day of packing. So as we're talking now, it's not all fulfilled, but by the time this is live, which will be Monday, they'll be in the postal system on the way out. At the moment, there's just 100 left to pack up, but all of the prep's done for them, so we've got all the collection boxes and stuff all done. So the only small change on that is because we got to a point where we were just like, we need to get these rings out. The delivery came and it was 99.95% QA pass. I'm going to let you simmer on that number for a while. It started off when we first started doing the project, we were getting 60%-ish, I think, past QA. It'll be in the updates. It was bad initially. But now we've got a employee in Shenzhen, and now we've got the factory set up more with our equipment, and now the factory know that we're not going to pay for QA failed rings. Yeah, things are great. We need to maintain this level of QA pass as we move forward, but what that meant is that when the rings came, it was much quicker. Like, we could QA test 400 per person per day as opposed to 100 per person per day. No, that's wrong. We were able to QA test it's 100 per person per hour. So there was me and Tom sat doing it, and it took half a day, and we got about 30% done more than what we did. So we did like 1,000 or something in that half day between two of us, which is a really high number. And I think the reason that we're getting better QA is because we've reduced the amount of complexity down of the order. So we ordered X amount of 1,000 of 2 models, but across 20 sizes, and we dropped 2 sizes. So we dropped size 5 and 15.5 because there just wasn't enough. So the demand curve tends to go, you get like the bell curve, but what you have is the 0.5, so the half sizes outside of kind of 8 to 12. They don't have much demand. They do have maybe like 100 orders a week or something, but to us, compared to the other stock, actually holding them in stock is kind of it's not really cost effective. It didn't affect anybody's Kickstarter order. It just means that we'll run out of stock on the store, and then eventually we'll drop them off. Talking of running out of stock on the store, we are completely selling out. Every time we put stock on the store, we do like little samples of putting, say, 10, and they sell out like within an hour. So we're not putting any more stock on until Monday, because obviously we've got 1,000,001 things to do. Oh, let me just cover this right quick. So the alpha people that won't be getting their rings will get a voucher for an alpha on the store, and that's because the alpha order's not due. It was supposed to be due in October. It's probably going to get pushed back to November because there's a 2-week holiday coming up in China, which sucks, but it means that there's no kind of more delays for those people. They'll just get the voucher. That'll be in their inbox before their rings arrive, unless they're UK and close by, in which case they might get them the same day-ish. We're going to get those vouchers sorted tomorrow. Again, Saturday today. You'll be probably watching this Monday, but we'll sort that on Sunday. So that's great. And also, everybody that's been delayed, even after the last update, we've been sending free visual rings, visual fail rings out to. So everybody gets basically a free ring that works absolutely fine, but it might just have a small mark on it or divot on it or something that made it fail our visual QA but pass our read QA tests. Had a lot of people say, I can't believe this failed the QA test. It's very kind of you, but we do set ourselves high standards, and we wanted to ensure that we'd got the NFC ring right, especially after you guys have waited so long. So yeah, that's where we're at with that. Right, now moving back to fulfillment, there's going to be a bunch of really big changes in fulfillment. There's a load of new stuff available on the store now. It's not stuff that you can just buy. It's different shipping types, it's accessories, gift cards, it's kind of there's lots of stuff that's going on under the scenes that take us from being a Kickstarter fulfillment into very much more of a commercially viable long-term business. Now, a lot of this is very hairy-fairy and caught up in the business side of things, because really that's the work that we've had to do to get us prepared for this Christmas. I'm going to cover some of it now, and then it's going to get announced. So we've basically got a spam agenda. It's probably a horrible thing, and my design guy is going to hate me for saying this, or Chris is going to hate me for saying this, but over the next 6 weeks, we've probably got like 10 announcements to make. So we're going to be spreading them out, because we don't want to kind of tell everybody everything at once, because it won't get adopted. But a lot of them are getting implemented now and then tested, and then we'll make an announcement once we're happy. So at the moment, every country now has a track shipping option. We've partnered with FedEx to provide that. Every country inside the EU, US, Canada, Brazil, Australia, New Zealand, Hong Kong, Indonesia, India, they have Royal Mail tracked shipping option as well. And that's because during Kickstarter, and we'll probably find this still, is that some rings will go missing in the post. Now obviously that sucks. But what we can't do is kind of get too caught up in dealing with those on an individual basis. So we found that the best thing that we can do is offer customers a shipping option. And it's quite cost effective. $10 for the ring to be shipped out to you, which is, a fair price. There's a lot more happening beneath. So the big thing that will happen with logistics is that we'll be having our US center set up next. So that's like the next push that we've got to get done in the next few weeks. And as you can imagine, this is all eating into the QA and into the R&D stuff. But let me just run through some of the stuff that we'll be announcing and that we're testing. Because the people that have watched this video so far, and I always think that the people that watch this video are the people that have been so supportive of the project so far, that if we do not announce something for whatever reason, they'll understand that we've done it for good reason. Or if we choose to announce something in 6 months instead of next week, even though it's been implemented for a couple of weeks, they'll again understand that there's good reason, and that's all part of this larger kind of, it's a horrible thing to say about business strategy that you need to have. So let's run through some of the things. So gift certificates, we're trialing them on the store at the moment. So the idea is a lot of people don't know their ring size or want to buy a ring for their loved ones or friends or whatever. You'll be able to just buy a gift certificate and issue that to them, and then they'll be able to jump on the store and get their ring size, jump on the store and make their purchase. So It's quite a nice little Christmas gift. That's what we're aiming for really with that. Again, this is all very, very businessy, hairy, fairy stuff, but it's stuff that we need to do to give people options to kind of get a ring with minimum fuss and effort. We've been working a lot with 3JS. If you on my blog post on maclear.co.uk, I did a blog post about 3JS, and I show a render of the ring, and we've been sharing it on the forum and asking for the community feedback and stuff. It's been a really impressive tool, but what that has meant is that we've had to redo all of our STL files. So what that has meant is that now all of the ring blanks and inlay covers STL files from 4.5 up to 16 for the normal size ring are available online. So that means that if you want to 3D print your ring, you don't need to worry about scaling issues. You can just download the right STL that fits your hand. So if you know your size 10 ring, you'd grab the 10 STLs. There's 3 files, inlay. There's the ring blank, there's inlay top, inlay bottom. You grab those 3 files and you just 3D print them. So that's kind of cool for the 3D printing community, actually, and also for the kind of hobby jewelry industry people that have got a milling machine at home, or they might even have a 3D lathe or something. They'll be able to just create our ring blank. Obviously, it does mean issues where if somebody wanted to copy our ring blank, that'd be really easy to do. But this project's always been about openness and sharing. Actually, I should cover copies because there's a lot more now. There's like 6 NFC rings. So we kind of been a little bit more aggressive about our trademark, and by aggressive I mean emailing companies and saying, guys, you cannot call your product an NFC ring, and they're like, well, that's what it is, and it's like, no, NFC ring's not a descriptive term. It was a product name. If you look back to 2012, we registered it all, So a bunch of the rings infringe on our IP, which is a different issue. So there's a trademark issue, which basically we just say to them, just don't call it an NFC ring, call it an NFC smart ring or an NFC turbo ring or whatever. But the problem is places like Alibaba. Alibaba for us is a huge problem. Well, it's not a huge problem. It's going to happen, right? It's like kind of Arduino. If you release something open source, people are going to copy it and sell it under your brand name. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to reach out to them, and we're just basically giving them our software for free. And again, the people that are watching this, the people that are part of our community, will understand why we're doing that. And that is because when you go to register our software, it's going to say, hey, you've not got a genuine NFC ring. You still use the software, but we're going to then take every opportunity to upsell to you. So basically, we're going to try and encourage them to buy a genuine NFC ring. We're not going to do it in a spammy way. We're not going to do it every time you use your ring. But when a new ring comes out, so once every X months, we might drop you a little message saying, hey, have you thought about maybe checking out this genuine NFC ring for these key reasons? It's real titanium. So the copies and the fakes are... So some of them have been pretty cool. Most of them are really bad. Just rushed to market, kind of just straight poor copies. So big issues that we're seeing. None of them have got non-root support for unlock. This is kind of minor. A bunch of them, most of them aren't tuned to metal. One of them's tuned to metal pretty well, but the overall build quality is really bad. None of them have comfort fit, which I thought was a weird thing for if you're making a wide band ring not to use comfort fit. But I think they did that to keep the metal costs down, because if you have a comfort fit, you have to mill thicker titanium. Oh yeah, a bunch of them aren't titanium, but sell themselves as titanium. There's loads. I mean, it's all been documented on the forum quite well. We've had conversations with the guys. We've literally brought them into our community and said, look, we'll support you through this. You can use our software. You can use our tech and all of our, because our community is crazy knowledgeable now about pretty much every element of the NFC ring. And so instead of blocking these people out and saying, oh, we're going to protect everything out, I think if we can bring them in and help them improve their ring, so that at some point they're able to not necessarily compete on a business level, but just provide a decent ring, even if it's a year behind us, we may be able to cherry pick some of the cool stuff that they come out with, and they may be able to cherry pick some of ours, and we might be able to have a really strong relationship that way. So yeah, that's where we're at with those. We're gonna be in a big retailer type place in about a month's time. I'm not gonna announce anything too much on that, but it's taken a lot of our resources to get prepared for it. Oh, actually, so one of the biggest things that we're having to do is redesign all of our packaging, which we wanted to do anyway. Long story short, on that, the company that we use for packaging turned around and we said, right, well, we might need to just manufacture some of this packaging in. Well, so actually the conversation went, we need to make some small changes to the packaging because it's not robust enough. We just need to double some of these walls. And they went, yeah, no problems. This is what the charge is going to be to make the change. And we were like, well, all right, no worries. And so we said, if we're paying for all of the extra development, I just want to make sure that if this is part of the R&D, that we're not blocked out from the IP, that if we're paying for the development, that we own some of the IP, some of the development rights. This is just normal business practice to make sure that you're not blocked out from your own product. And they said, no, we own the IP. And we were like, wait, we pay for R&D, right? You're charging us specifically for R&D and you're holding on to the IP. I was like, no, it don't work like that. This is not how we do things. Anyway, they chose to basically kind of threaten us on our own IP. So we said, like, we're going to need to manufacture in the US because we're going to have our US center up within the next month or so. So in a few weeks, we'll be placing an order in a US factory. Now, we're going to need our designs for that, our artwork. And they were like, no, you've got to manufacture to us. And they were like, what? Are you being genuine? Are you being serious? And they were like, yeah. We were like, nope. And we don't know what you think you're doing, but nope, you are not having any of our business. Anyway, subsequently, we did a real reflect on our design. And those of you that know me quite well, I've shared this on IRC a few times and used Tinkercad for like the MVP for the minimal viable products, just to get like a rough idea of what we want. And then we've been working with a bunch of box suppliers and foam suppliers and stuff. It's really time consuming doing the packaging side. You wouldn't have thought it probably takes up about 10% of my time just doing packaging. But we want a really good unboxing experience, and at the moment people don't have that. So we're working through a whole new packaging thing, which we're trying to get pushed out in the next month. But I don't know, these things are moving slow, and we'll see. Hope so. So the kind of the problem is with stuff like this is you get a design done, or you do the design in house, and then you go out to a manufacturer and then you tweak it. And then you end up with a different design file, and then people. So the people that use Autodesk. So just like the engineering world, it's properly weird. Like so in software, you've got. I guess I know it's just as fragmented in software, but basically, like if I'm working with my ring blank engineers, so the people that are working with us to do the 3D models, they'll be using like SolidWorks, and I'll be able to export STL, work with it in Blender. But if I want to make any changes, I have to do it in SolidWorks. So very tied down to a very specific application. And we're finding with the foam stuff, which is it's a 3D object, but what they do is they deal with many 2D objects. They'll use Autodesk. Again, proprietary software, but I have to deal with a whole new set of file types. Now, I just quite like to work in STL, but the problem with STL is you lose quite a lot of fidelity, unless you're exporting, big files and moving them around. So, quite frustrating. I'm having to learn a lot of different jargon from those industries, which is taking up a lot of my time just in meetings. It's kind of frustrating. And the big problem with foam is that you can't manufacture it in the UK and ship it off to different distribution centres because the cost of doing that is just so high. You can do it with flat packed boxes, but you can't do it with pre-packed, pre-structured boxes. So then you've got to have a factory, say we have to have one in the US and one in the UK and probably one in Hong Kong, where we'll have 3 factories all making the same thing. Just because the cost of moving it around is so much versus the cost of manufacturing it local, and then you have to have work with 3 different factory managers, 3 different salespeople, deal with 3 different invoices, quotes, and So again, this is all the business side, and it consumes so much of your time. But I feel like it's worth kind of giving you guys an update so we know where we're at on that. The next thing is we didn't get the V-card stuff in on time. That was late. We need to get the artwork done, but it's been dropped to a lower priority at the moment. Just whilst we were doing fulfillment and other bits of artwork that we've needed to get done. So I'm just going to quickly run through some of these things. So, sorry, I'm just looking through. So we use Trello for task management at the moment, and we've got quite a lot of people on our team. And so I don't deal with absolutely everything, obviously, that would be impossible. But I'm just looking through what other people have been working on. So kind of the archive stuff and the stuff that's currently open. And trying to see what's of interest to people so that I can give as much. Again, so much of the stuff's just internal. That's support tickets. We down to. So let me just bring up. So we use Zendesk for support tickets. And there's a lot of proprietary software being used here, which I'm not particularly keen on. But you know, this is a problem. A big problem with Kickstarter is it gives you all this front load stuff, so you have to get stuff in place as quick as possible. So yesterday we had no open tickets, and today we only have. There's only 24 that have come in the last couple of hours, which is fine. The last one, so there's some that haven't been updated since, and there's probably, there will be a reason. So Wednesday, so that'd be like 2 or 3 days, and usually it's not been updated because somebody's either been incredibly awkward. So as is always the case with support tickets, we have like 3 or 4 people just on customer service at the moment, and I get forwarded through some of the support tickets of people where they've gone through our community. Our community said we're not able to help, and I speak with our community in real time. So I'm on IRC with the majority of our community. Well, not with the majority, but with the people that are online throughout the day, and we speak with them about these support tickets. And we speak. I mean, obviously we don't share personal information, but we get quite a lot of awkward. Actually, that's not fair. We get the odd awkward support ticket that can be difficult to deal with because the person's not willing to compromise. And by willing to compromise, we're like, yeah, we'll send you a free ring, don't worry about it. And they're like, no, I need a full refund and a free ring. And we're like, well, just don't. Like, people taking liberties. You're a customer, and we've absolutely value all of our customers. But at the same token of appreciation, if you're going to be a bit of a dick, there's a level of... It's humans dealing with humans at the end of the day. And if you're a dick with somebody, they're probably going to be a dick back. So every now and again there's a ticket where it's coming and somebody's just not basically either listening to what we're asking them to do or not willing to compromise. So those tickets will get pushed back because nobody wants to deal with them. Yeah, I guess that's what happens in life though, right? I mean, that's nothing new. I'm just going to say hello to everyone. Hey everyone, just recording a long video now. So the IRC channel, NFC Ring on Freenode. There's 15 of us in there at the moment, and the conversations in there are really great, actually. I will say I'm not the only person that can answer your questions a lot of the time. So there's Diaz in there, there's Lockie in there, there's XXV in there, there's MBM in there. Those guys, there's Inge in there, and there's DevGeeks as well. Basically, like, those guys will answer the majority of your questions. I could run through the skills. So DevGeeks is an amazing phone gap dev. So we use Apache Cordova for all of our NFC ring control stuff. So if you've got questions about the app, he could probably help you with that. He's a really, really smart guy. He's got a bunch of rings that you can try. Lockie does so much on this project. If you've dealt with this project, you've probably dealt with Lockie at some point. He just last week put a video up of him taking our antenna, putting an LED on it, and using the LED to see where the sweet spot was, because when you put that antenna over the phone antenna, the LED lights up. How simple and obvious is that? That's way better than anything we've thought of. And we're like, well, if we can, we should definitely make that as, like, we call it a lock antenna, I think. We've not quite come up with a decent enough name for it. We need to think of that. I think that's your job, guys, watching this video. Think of a good name for that antenna. And it's a project that somebody else has done before, but Lockie was able to prove we were just from a conversation in IRC, we went from, hey, this is a cool concept, to hey, have you tried to do it on one of our antennas? Because Lockie's got a bunch of our antennas. To 5 minutes later, he came back with his Imodium on his table. Oh, it wasn't Imodium. Was it Imodium? The thing for headaches. I don't think that's Imodium, is it? I think that's for something else. He came back and he'd made one, and he created a video, uploaded it onto YouTube, and we're all able to see it. And that's just from a conversation on IRC for 5 minutes. So if you do idle on IRC, or if you're just on IRC in general, or even if you're not on IRC and you want to kind of know what it's all about, because you've got this Facebook shit and you've got this Twitter shit, and really the conversations that you have on those things tend not to be to a common goal, whereas on IRC there's usually a lot of information shared and a lot of very useful thoughts and opinions shared, whereas possibly one could argue that on modern social media it's mostly just opinions, possibly. So yeah, that's IRC for you. Let's see, where else are we at? So I'm just running through everybody else, and then I'm going to run through the tasks that are assigned to me. We've done loads of hackerspaces, so we've got like 500 rings out at the moment. So Battle Hack, Hack Reference, and another hacker event, and I think they're all based in London, and they're all happening over the next 2 or 3 weeks maybe. And the advantage of those is that people talk about them. So one thing that we do find is the more rings we get out, and this is a gift and a curse, the more rings we get out, the more rings we sell. Because people see them, people realise that it's a cool idea and it actually works, and it's not just this made up thing. And that means that people are buying the rings, which means that we sell out pretty much straight away. But we do have all these fail visual rings still, as you guys know from all of the projects so far. So what we've been doing is we've just given them to free for hackerspaces. Now, one problem that we have caught on that is that when we do provide rings for free as a private gift, they come without a warranty. In the EU, it has to be as a gift for it to be provided without warranty. So I could give you something for free and you could say, well, I want a warranty with this now. But if I say I'm giving you a free gift, which is what we're doing, then there's no warranty included. Now, we just basically cannot... There's no logic in us from a business perspective saying, here's a free ring and we'll provide you with a warranty. Because if you're getting a free ring at a hacker type event, you've not paid for it. And you probably not paid for the hacker event. It's just something cool that we can give you as a gift. So I've had a few rings come back where people have either bought them off eBay because they've been sold after someone's got it for free at a hacker event. We've actually only had one of these. And the way that we dealt with it is we offered the person a discount. I think it was 25%. Which, from a business perspective, is still worthwhile us doing because it's a new customer, and we only lose a small amount on that ring sale in total. Again, this is all very much business logic, but I feel like it's worth sharing it with you guys so you kind of understand where we're coming from. But we are very keen on managing warranties and refunds directly with customers. So we're thinking about how we can best do this for the customer, or for you guys. I mean, Kickstarter people are exempt to this because you get 2 years warranty irrespective as an individual. So that warranty is with you because you pledged to the project. But if you buy the commercial product as is on store.nfcring.com, there's a 1 year warranty implied and provided. That's a manufacturer's guarantee, so we make sure that that works. But under EU law, that's transferable. Now, under US law, that's non-transferable. So if you buy a ring through ebay.com from the US, then there's no warranty with that. But if you buy that inside the UK from another UK person, then there is guarantee provided with it through the manufacturer. And it's all a bit fluffy because there's no way that you can provide evidence of purchase because you didn't purchase it. So this brings me on to distributors. So we get a lot of requests for people wanting to distribute. And some of those people are, I want to set up some new store and I want to distribute 100 rings, and then we say, well, there's 2 styles and then there's 20 sizes of each, roughly. So you'd have to purchase X amount of 100 rings at this cost. Do you have that capital behind you? And so we have a template for that, and that kind of don't get rid of the people. Because it'd be nice if we were able to deal with small volumes, but the reality of distribution is that you need volume there. So the point with distributors though is that we're not able to easily track the point when a certain ring ID is sold because we're able to track when it's registered with the app, but we're not able to track when a specific ID is sold. So this is something that we're trying to figure out at the moment, because we need to make sure that we have a trackable system of what. So if it's a mobile phone, for example, it's easy because your mobile phone is going to communicate with the manufacturer through the carrier. But with a ring, you might not use it with the phone. You might use it with an Arduino, and then there's no link back to us to say, hey, this ring's now, the warranty starts at this point because this is the first time that they've used it. So we're just trying to wrestle with that at the moment and find a decent thing, and that ties into distributors, because we need to have that problem solved really before we send out the rings to distributors. We're not too keen on dealing with distributors, to be quite honest. We don't particularly feel that they bring value. They just put your product in front of more eyes, and we don't need that. We need our product in front of the right eyes, and we get that because we get a lot of support from the tech community, which is great. Talking of the tech community, we've been covered in a bunch of stuff. So social spam recently, there's been loads, and I think we're doing a few more magazines. So I've done a bunch more interviews over the last few weeks, and there's a bunch of people going to be doing a bunch of referencing of the NFC ring. I don't know. There's so much that it kind of all swims in, but I know that there's been a bunch. So there's been a shift, actually. We were in like TechCrunch and Gadget and stuff, and all of the early adopter stuff when we were early days, so maybe like a year ago now, running up to this point. But now we're not necessarily innovating as much, because we've shifted focus a bit more towards the business implementation. What that's meant is that the focus has shifted towards the consumer on the journalistic side. So we've had like more consumer oriented magazines and press and media get in touch with us and want to talk with us about how we can do stuff like brand integration and all these things. And we're working with a bunch of charities and security agencies as well to do stuff like brand implementations of their brand onto the ring, and different security implementations and all this kind of stuff. And again, these aren't particularly early days R&D stuff. This is just business implementation stuff that you might do we might do 5,000 rings for a specific brand, and then that's not particularly an NFC ring product. It's an NFC ring because it's still using our technology and build, but it'll be implementing their brand, which is fine. So the next bits, let's cover some more cool bits. So I get to, as well as dealing with the business side, I actually get to do some of the R&D side and get to deal with the developers, which is great because that's kind of what I'd rather do. Unlock app. So the Unlock app now works on Android L. Well, it works on Android L in our dev environments, right? We're going to be doing a big push on the Unlock app. It won't be done by the time this update's out. No chance. It'll be done within the next few weeks, and it's going to have a load more kind of cool stuff. We're still not settled exactly on what we're doing. I'm just bringing up my pad now with all my notes. We've got a big to-do list. It's huge. We've just not wanted to rush on this because we were kind of hoping that AOSP would get our changes in for personal unlocking, which would be allowed with NFC, but yeah, those people that work with Google know how difficult things can be lately. There's some definite issues going on there, and hope that we can get around to sorting that out and having better conversations with the Android team. The people there are great, but the bureaucracy at the moment isn't. But moving on anyway, away from that, and just sticking with what we're doing on the Unlock app, because it needed fixes and it needed attention, and that's what we're giving it. So the main thing is we are migrating to that new build environment. I've not been involved so much in this, but it means that we're moving away from Eclipse, which is great because Eclipse is a clusterfuck. So the build from Android L, which means that it'll compile. It means that the APK will install well on Android L and it won't crash. The changes that were required on that were mostly just because they'd been required a bit more strictness in your code, whereas an issue that wasn't an issue before is now an issue on Android L. So it was just lots of minor bug fixes, nothing too difficult. We're going to be working on a setup wizard, so when you do your first install, you're going to have a flow process to get started. The idea is that it just solves some of the low-hanging fruit. People have issues saying I can't use it. The bummer is that there's been a bunch of people who make tutorial videos on how to get started. They are going to be deprecated somewhat and slightly irrelevant, and I apologise to those people, but we are really grateful that you made them, and maybe you could make a new video when the new changes come in, just saying, oh, this is how you get started now. It's way easier. You can check out my old video for how difficult it used to be, but now there's this nice simple flow process with how to register your ring and just get started. Some minor bug fixes like the Gmail password input field. It wasn't a password input, it was a text. That's an obvious one for us to fix. We're going to provide a get help button on the unlock screen. So if you're struggling to unlock your phone, be it that you can't find your sweet spot or whatever, there's going to be a help button so you get some basic pointers. And the majority of times it's people overwriting the contents of the ring. We do use the NDEF record for unlock, and we have to use the NDEF record for unlock. If we didn't, it wouldn't work. So there's one this is polarizing, but it needs to be done. And there will be some people that, I don't want to say bitch, but there will be some people that find this issue a step backwards, but it's not a step backwards, and allow me to indulge you. So mandatory pins, boom, there you go, I've dropped it. Oh, many people spitting their dummy out. So mandatory pins seems like a really bad idea because it's a step backwards, and that is the argument that people will put forward, and they are right to put that argument forward. There is one thing that you have to take into account, and that is that big thing called flight mode. So when you are in flight mode, you have, I sounded like the guys from the I think it's Roberto from the Linux Gamecast review. When you are in flight mode, he's a Spanish anyway. So when you're in flight mode, it disables your NFC and it disables your 3G or your data connection, right? And what are our unlock methods? They are NFC, and then the graceful fallback to Google authentication, and of course, when we try and consume Google authentication and your 3G is off, so this is on a plane, right? Basically, the software would be, the NFC ring unlock would be unusable on a plane, which is a problem. Now you can get around that by pressing Locky knows. You'd have to go on the forum, but this is a thing, right? Most people don't know. I don't even know. There's a keystroke that you can get to when you're on the lock screen to bring up which connectivity types are enabled or disabled. So you can fire, even when the lock screen's showing on the screen, you can still get to that. So you can get to a point where you can turn flight mode off, and then just disable your mobile, so your 3G if you're on a flight, and then you'll still be able to use your NFC unlock. But most people don't know that short code. I don't even know if it's available across all Android. So mandatory pin is something that we're going to put on, but it's going to be variable length. So you can have a 20 character mandatory pin and only use it when you get on a plane and forget or whatever, that flight mode disables everything. So you can fall back to mandatory pin. It's there to save you bacon. It is absolutely not there to be used as a standard unlock method. It's there to save your ass, because when shit hits the fan, I'm swearing a lot. This is weird. When things go bad, you need a way to get out of trouble, and that is what it's there for. So to the haters, yes, I agree, mandatory pins are a step backwards. To the people that have a realistic life, which means spending time on planes and commuting and being in flight mode and all of these things, it's there if you want it, if you need it. And again, it's just there to save you from being locked out of your phone, which would suck if it was a long haul flight. If you get, you can imagine, right, you're on a flight 10 hours, you've got your phone, and yes, I'm going to just watch this film that I've put on my phone. Or yes, I'm going to play that game that I installed that I really want to play, and then you go to unlock your phone and oh shit, this is a problem because I can't unlock it, and then you have to do a bunch of messing around to try and reboot your phone and to get to a point where you can get it so that it's not locked. And Yeah, whereas this is just, you know, a simple, straightforward workaround that works really well. Okay, cool. You've all got that. So the next thing that we're definitely doing for on Android is going to be implementing Tasker support. Now, Tasker is a paid add-on, and what it'll basically do is give you the ability to do an if this then that type thing. So you can imagine you connected to your home Wi-Fi. You could say, well, don't show the lock screen because I feel like I'm in a trusted, safe environment. There's no need to show the lock screen. Or you could say, I don't know. There's a bunch of stuff you could do. I guess you could probably do if I'm driving, don't show the lock screen because you don't want to block your sat nav if you're sat naving. So it's very much an if this then that. And we think that should just give people the flexibility and freedom they want. But again, it's a paid add-on because you have to purchase a Tasker. We don't provide Tasker. It's not built by us. It's a very, very powerful app. But we're going to be implementing that and tying that into NFC Ring Unlock. So you'll have a lot more functionality there. Something that a lot of people wanted. I also want to do widgets on the lock screen. I've not put... So, I've had approval. So we have meetings and then these things get approved. Business, right? I can't just go ahead and spend many monies. I have to check with people, make sure everybody's on the same page. So actually I'll run through. So that was 1 through to 7 and then there's 8 through to 15. So next things are we're going to update the styling. So this is just a bit of UI polish now. We've not got anything set in stone on that yet, but it's something that we probably need to do. We're going to request your feedback. So once you use the app after a few times, we're going to say, hey, how are you getting on? Can you tell us about any bugs? How are you feeling about using it? And the idea is at the moment we don't actually request any feedback. So most of the feedback that we get is quite negative. So that's taken us from 5 stars down to 3.5. And I'm not going to lose any sleep about that because like the people that are mostly saying I got 3.5 stars are the people that are unlocking themselves out and stuff. It's our fault that probably you could say it's our fault that they're locking themselves out. But we do need to basically just bring it up so we get a bit more positive feedback that's more structured instead of just and if you do use the app and you really like it, then please jump on there and give it 5 stars. It would help. The next feature that we'd like to be able to do is the enable/disable sound on unlock. So this is it's exactly what it is. It sounds like, you know, at the moment the only way you can unlock is make some noise and bloop, 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 bloop. You probably don't want that. So yeah, we're thinking about putting that in. Again, it's not confirmed. We're looking about bringing our heat maps in. So the heat map would be on the homepage. There's quite a bit of work to do around that. The implementation's not even been fully fleshed out yet, but it's something that we'd quite like to do. Whether or not it'll be in this chunk of work, I don't know. We'll see. We have to do a lot of work internal back end, and we've got so much on that doing that before we even get to a point of putting it onto the front end is, yeah, we'll see. It might be something that I can knock out in a night, but it might end up being a few days, and that's probably a bit much. Yeah, so widgets on the lock screen. So like a clock on the lock screen. It seems like a no-brainer. We probably should have put that on a while ago. We're going to do that. I just approved that now. I'm probably going to get in trouble, but I'll check with our team. I'm sure they'll say yes. The enable/disable button apparently has been confusing people, so it's going to show enabled versus instead /disabled. So enabled or disabled. Yeah, it's a minor change, but apparently it's been affecting people. And then that's pretty much actually, because 15 was more of a conversation that we need to have internally. But there's a bunch of stuff, so that's what's happening on the Unlock app. Oh, I got fast internet. So usually it takes 12 hours to upload these videos. It's going to take like 2. It's amazing. Actually, it's probably going to take about an hour and a half. Even better. So yeah, that's the Unlock app. That's what we're doing on that. NFC ring control. We've got the vCard support to bring in still. We've got a bunch of updates to push through. We've got new translations. Gosh, what else are we doing on there? Yeah, there's just a bunch of stuff on there that we really need to get pushed out, get out to beta testers and get some feedback. Probably try and push on that on next week when we've got everything out and fulfillment's done and we've kind of leveled off. So let me run through the other stuff that we've been working on internally. The carbon fiber. Let me just quickly, I'll do the carbon fiber last. Our forum login issue, that's done. 1 sec. Let me archive that bad boy. We had an issue where you couldn't log into the forum properly, and that's now sorted. This, no, that's not done. We're doing a bunch of testing with engraving stuff, which we've not publicly announced yet. Yeah, I don't know if I should. So this is real early days, but I'll show you it anyway. This will probably end up going in the IP portfolio, or whatever you want to call it. Oh man, I don't know why I ain't got my main lights on today. There we go. Woo! Okay. Okay, come on, focus, you swine. This ain't gonna focus, is it on that? Come on. Why you not focus? It's just not going to focus on it, is it? I should just accept defeat. Let me see if I can get right close. No, it's not going to have it. Well, I don't know if you can see. It's probably best there, look. There you go. See there? So again, this is probably going to land in our IP portfolio, so you can see the little engraving on the inside. And yeah, so the engraving lines up with the bottom inlay. So the IP that will probably register on that, I don't know if I can even include this now. Suck it, it'll be alright. The IP that we're probably going to register is using an engraving so that you know the orientation of your inlay, because at the moment we've not registered that IP. We've got the IP for top and bottom. Should we maybe cover it anyway, because if we've got the IP for top and bottom. No, we probably need to do it anyway. But basically, yeah, we're using engravings to help you know which way around it is. This is something we're trialing. We've not announced that before, so this is just a little sneak preview of how it looks. Initial feedback and tests are great. That looks really nice. We have to get the production process set up right, figure out costs and all of that kind of stuff, and make sure that the QA is done right. Because imagine if we got a batch of 5,000 rings and they had the engraving in the wrong place, that'd be binnable straight away. So yeah, we've been doing that. Let me bring up. I'm going to come up onto carbon fibre last because it's a bigger topic. Yeah, cool. So glassing carbon fibre. So stealth bombers, we are not going to be doing a stealth bomber as was, and I've done this a few times, but we're not going to be doing the stealth bomber as was on Kickstarter. It's not possible. It's just not. It's not possible to make it at like 30% QA pass or whatever we were getting. It makes no sense for us to do that. Let me just turn that one back off. Actually, what I'll do is it's a bit too dark now. There we go. The plan is to make a new ring, which I've covered quite a lot of times in previous videos, and we've got the blank done for that. That's gone off to the factory for glue and polish. However, the factory aren't going to be doing the glue and polish for another week or two, and that takes us into the Chinese holiday. So we get caught out by that. So we're not going to know until mid-October whether that first test is has passed or not. Which is a pain in the ass. I would have quite liked to have had that out before I got it ship tracked and rush chipped and everything, just to get that done before their holiday. So apparently it didn't. Apparently we provided the wrong tracking number, and apparently it went somewhere. I don't know, some shit. These things happen. But there's a few. I don't know how much I've released so far. I've put some pictures out. I think people have been able to see what they look like. Yeah, I'm excited about it, and so is the whole team. But it's not going to be done until at least early 2015 now. Again, this is just because now we know what's required with each product launch. When I say product launch, that each ring we push out, we can't just push out. We can't just say, well, here's a ring, and then think that we'll have it done and manufactured within 3 months. The production process in itself might take 2 months, but then you've got all of the extra kind of logistical stuff and packaging and all of that. Now we are really well set up so we'd be able to do it much quicker than we have done previously. But there's still a lot of work required. I mean, just the embryos for the blank, the costs and time associated with those is, like, compared to the NFC ring, the original titanium NFC ring, the costs are just ridiculous. And there's a bunch of people trying to copy the new ring from the leaked information that's gone out, and I don't know, like, that's fine. It's nice. It's complimentary that you're trying to get our product to market for us. And this is where things are starting to get a little bit tricky with these long update videos now, and why I tend to leave the I don't know, the more the juicy stuff to the end, is the IP, or when we announce something, it tends to have gone through a bunch of filters and stuff, and in these videos I tend to cover stuff that's not ready for commercial knowledge yet. So for example, like the engraving, we may find that after a series of testing, having the engraving is really bad for whatever reason. I don't know, it could be that people get blisters or whatever from it, I don't know, I assume not, but you have to test these things, and the testing takes a long time, and during that time somebody else might rush to market to get there before you. And basically that's what's kind of starting to happen a lot around this project. And I'm not too fussed, because I think innovation's got a place irrespective, and even if you're not first to market, it's not like the be all and end all. But in this world of modern SEO, like, I don't know, if you there's like a company in Hong Kong that have set up that have taken all of our suggestions and basically SEO'd them on a URL and say that you can go and buy them, which is just, it's bollocks. They can't actually make any of the stuff that they say that they can make, but they're like, no, you can come and buy everything here. Yeah, this is all like ready to buy and stuff like that. Yeah, I don't know. We don't seem to have a good solution for that yet, other than the fact that we just make sure that our software's out there and that we make sure that people are using genuine rings as a, I don't know, as a thing that we think that's the right thing to do. I don't know, I just don't have a solution yet. But anyway, the carbon fibre, right, so I'm now working with a bunch of really, really good companies for our composite. Now, our new material that we've been developing, as you guys know, we've gone through lots and lots and lots of steps. I don't think I've got any down here. I think it's all upstairs. We're at a point where we at the impregnation of this material now. We think that we've got the material right from an appearance perspective. The problem is that you when you do the impregnation, it brings the tone down a little bit, and then when you do the final epoxy, when you do the final layer of glue, because you get light displacement through these materials, it brings the tones down a bit, so you lose some of the colour depth. And we're really trying to match what we had before. We can go up and down a bit, you know, as far as brightness and darkness, but we're trying to kind of keep something that looked really, really dark and stealthy and subtle with that little bit of copper that you could see through. I really like that. You could only really see through it with a flash at high definition, zoomed right in. But it added like a little, I don't know, je ne sais quoi, a little, just a bit of stealthiness under the stealth bomber. So we've not thought of a name for the next ring yet, and that'll be up for conversation. I think the name of the stealth bomber was a great name. I quite like V2 as a reference to the V2 missile, but I'd also quite like to name it. What was the name of the missile launcher on Red Alert? I seem to have an awesome name. V3. That was a V3 rocket launcher. I'd quite like to name it the V3. Just as a hat tip to Red Alert, or maybe even go V4 as like a way of saying. So apparently in Red Alert game it was Red Alert V2 rocket, and then it was V3. So maybe, oh, this is weird. There's conflicting information on the internet. Say it ain't so. Maybe there was 2 different rocket launchers. Maybe there was a V3 in Red Alert in Yuri's or something. I don't know. Anyway, from a naming perspective, it'd be quite cool to go something like that. From a product development perspective, it'd be nice to have the ring blanks tested with polished, because we know a lot more once that's done. If we can get that done by mid-October, materials should land at about the same time. The antenna's done, the IC's done. I do have some news on the IC that I can't share yet, but that's pretty public. I've covered it before. People know where. If people are interested in the IC stuff, they'll know where we're going with it. It's not secret, but it's not public knowledge yet. So all of those processes and the steps are done. It's just about them all coming together and the final tests. And then we've probably got 2 months at least of testing in the field, of making maybe, and then we need to do sample production runs. Oh, we need to do all the embryos. Yeah, there's no way it's gonna be. I'd like to aim for Q1 2015, and I think that's doable. But I'd probably guess at late Q1, and I'm probably gonna get and the next thing that we need to figure out is that this whole voucher thing, because we said that we'd issue vouchers, and we are going to issue vouchers for backers for the stealth bomber. Now people paid like 17 quid roughly for a stealth bomber because it was part of the collection. Oh, in fact it was less because it's a chain and stuff. So the likelihood is it will compensate for that same amount, because the stealth bomber, or the V3 or whatever we end up calling it, is going to cost like 4 times that, and it's going to cost and that's going to be the retail price roughly. It's going to be a lot more. The production cost is going to be like more than the price that they would have paid for it. It makes no sense at all for us to issue a voucher for a full free ring. It's not going to be cost effective. So the best thing that we will do is we'll say, well, this is what you paid for it. Would you just give you a refund for that amount for that ring? That's the likelihood of what we'll do. Or we'll do another option is we'll do a voucher. Now, actually, we already did a 25% off voucher, so you probably could just get like. Or actually, you know what we might end up doing is a gift card. It's just doing like, here's a I don't know, here's like a £20 gift card or whatever they paid for the store, and here's a discount code on top of that. So you've still got your 25% discount code, which you've already got as a Kickstarter backer, and then we'd give you a gift card as well. So I think we'll probably end up going that route. As opposed to, like, I just, at this moment in time, unless something drastically happens with the price per unit, I don't see us being able to do them as free rings. We'd have to compromise somewhere on a material or the ring or the packaging. It just wouldn't, it'd be damaging for the project for us to do that. So yeah, we're just trying to figure that out at the moment. If you guys have got any input or thoughts again on that, then feel free to share them. So I think I can wrap it up there on a bit of a cliff edge. There's loads, as you guys can probably tell from how long this video is. There's so much stuff going on. Oh, let me just actually one sec. Ooh, new stickers on the store. Oh, I don't know if they are on the store yet. No, they're not on the store yet, but there will be some NFC ring stickers landing very shortly. What? Okay. I need to... Yeah. Yep, I think actually everything's covered there, guys. Thanks again. As you guys know, I really appreciate the backing. Thank you for backing. And thank you for watching these videos and being part of the project. Yeah, props to all the community members, props to everybody that's getting involved on the forum and the social tentacles and IRC. Like I say, if you want to come and hang out in IRC, we are NFC Ring on freenode.net, and you can get at us there, and we will be very happy for you to just come and kick it with us. So, see you soon, guys. Take care. Bye.